The only reason I'm making this video is because I've seen a lot of the ways, the predatory monetization of recycled information, trash advice, and grifts. And I think it's important to talk about the day-to-day life of a security analyst from a person who's been in the role, because I don't want the individual who's trying to pivot into this role to fall for the certification trap, to fall for the you need a degree, you need a certification. And while these things are important, and ironically, I might even give you guys a good certification to take that I'm not sponsored by, I want you guys to be aware that these are things that you do not need. One, and to give you guys a little bit more context for why I'm making this video, I just want to have a conversation, right? Grab some coffee, grab some tea. It's a minute in the video. And let's just talk about the requirements. What does a day to day look like for a security analyst? It's cold in my room, hence why I'm wearing a jacket. Let's get these things out of the way, and let's just talk about the important concepts for security analysts. So if you're expecting something technical, then this is not the place right now. I'm just cozy, and I just want to give some general ideas that you should be looking at when trying to talk about getting into the role, right? So let's switch my screen here, and let me know when you guys see that. I mean, that was a joke, you guys. This is on live, but so how to security analyst? Hey, and like I want to become a cybersecurity. And like, why were you gone for 2 years? We missed you. Come back. No one said that, but the first thing here that we look at, not this, SIEMs, EDRs, host indicators, query languages, and like, what are these things? Research these things. This is going to be a mile wide, an inch deep. I'm not going to explain these concepts, but search up what in, you know, security information and event management, what your detection and response platform for your endpoints are, and understand the query language that they use, right? Even if you don't understand the host in an investigation, I mean, not the host, well, yes, the scope, at least you understand what network indicator or host indicator, and you can query for that. You can wildcard the host and just search for those indicators and see the scope of your incident, right? This is just one of the many ways that you can use a SIEM. Understand what logs are being ingested, right? Your source types. Okay, well, we have our Palo logs or firewall logs here. We have our Linux and Windows and Mac logs. We have our authentication logs. These are all things that you should understand as a security analyst. You don't necessarily have to understand how, right? You don't have to go into the whole, learning about these agents or APIs and how everything is being ingested, but understand, you know, your event, how that there's events being forwarded and what type of events. Again, and I want to let's talk about query languages, guys. Everyone talks about, yes, learn the query language, learn your KQL, your FQL, your SPL, your LLINQ, your LINQ. But does anyone actually do it to a level where I can trust you to hunt for certain activity? I swear, if you learn the query language, you're automatically better. I know that's not the point, but you're going to be faster at hunting. You're going to be strong. You're going to be better. Okay. So learn the query language and learn how to look for those host indicators. Learn how to look for those hashes, those files, those scheduled tasks, those WMI subscriptions, those local account creations, those cron jobs, those PowerShell scripts, you know, those startup folders, identify DLL hijacking. Um, all of the concepts that you can look for on your host. That's where we get into, you know, Windows, Linux artifacts, event IDs. Understand what events are occurring. Understand you don't got to remember them, but remember This is part of the correlation. Understand what events, okay, well, this user logged in at this time. Well, what event ID relates to that? What sysmon event ID relates to that? Understand what is occurring, right? This is one of the things that will help you become a better analyst and improve that investigative theory. If you're able to tell, okay, well, there was abuse of SUID binaries, or there was a local account creation, or there was, the bash profile configurations were edited, or cron jobs, like we said, or SSH keys. You want to know what artifacts can I look for? What are present? What was modified on these operating systems? And again, if you don't understand a term, just look them up, research. That's the point of this video. Moving on to PCAP and network indicators. So we crossed off these two already. We talked about these two. You want to understand your network logs, your firewall logs, your IDS, IPS logs, your Zeeks, your PCAPs. Understand your network traffic, right? Understand those IP addresses, those domains, those protocols, those ports. Understand what is occurring, what domains are being traversed, what URLs are being accessed. So, I remember using ZIA from Zscaler, and that was amazing. Being able to see, correlate, okay, well, this host accessed this, they downloaded this file from here, XYZ, building that timeline. Again, I'm not going to give too much detail. Understand those network indicators. Do we see DNS tunneling? Do we see beaconing, C2 traffic? Any downloads or exfiltration, right? Do we see domain generating algorithms? Do we see a bunch of high entropy random subdomains? You know that there's some algorithm creating this. So these are all things you start thinking about. Again, these concepts, look them up. This is how you become a better security analyst. I guess, again, that's the point of the video. So let's talk about it. So now that you understand your SIEM, your EDR, the query language, right? You understand some of these host indicators, some of these network indicators. And like, what now? Are you going to disappear on me again? Guys, stay focused. Investigative theory, your 5 W's, your timelining. That's what makes up a good analyst. You can use a tool, you can use the query language, but if you don't ask the right questions, I'm gonna be honest, are you gonna get anything done? Are you gonna find that root cause analysis? I don't know. So, in order to improve your incident reports and in general responding to your incidents, learn to ask questions, learn to recognize patterns, learn to prioritize alerts, high fidelity versus low fidelity. What makes an alert high fidelity? What makes it an alert you have to run to versus one that you can just say, yeah, well, that's a PowerShell script that the sysadmin was running. Determine what are the different factors in an alert that make it one where you have to all hands on deck versus one that you can chill out. Low versus high entropy, another concept that you should be familiar with. If you check activity log and you see that in the past 90 days, this user has been logging in and you see this IP address correlating to that. Well, if you see an IP address that is random, increasing the entropy of this, right? The outcome. So it's not all the same now. Well, let me search up the IP address. Is it a Tor exit node? Is it a proxy VPN? Let me go ask the user. Is it, like via enrichment? Where is this IP address coming from? Some CTI in there. Things you should be thinking about. Timelining, right? Understanding from root cause, this day at this time, from all the way to the eradication or containment, to the scope. How far along did this incident go? What occurred? Who, what, where, when, why? Timeline that. Who was affected? When? What is the spread of this activity? Right? Well, if a domain admin was compromised, now they have access to the domain controller. Okay, well, let's timeline that. Can we see indication of pass the hash, or did they dump all the credentials, all those NTLM hashes? Did they leverage golden ticket attack? Now they have access to everything. It's game over. Yes and no, but and NLeak, how do I build my investigative theory? Well, one of those ways is by utilizing some frameworks, right? The Pysoro, Cyberkill chain. Well, I wouldn't put too much thought into these frameworks, considering that what's going to carry you in these investigations are the questions you ask, right? Well, if a host was clicked a link, okay, well, let's where did this link source from? Okay, well, boom, it sourced from an email. This phishing email. Let's do some email header analysis. Let's look at domain, some CTI. How did this email, get past our defenses, etc. These are questions you ask. Once he accessed the link, did he download anything? Was this a dropper? Let's do some static analysis of this file. Any strings that we can find in it. Was this an executable? Was this a macro? Pysoro. This is what's going to help you understand. Okay, well, now I'm, identifying what the activity is. Let's contain it. Let's eradicate it. Let's recover. These are things to search and be privy to. Cyber kill chain. How far along of the attack is this attacker, right? Are they already exfiltrating data? Are they already completing the actions and objective, or are they still trying to attempting to exploit a vulnerability that was found, that was newly listed, right? New CVE. Do we see them doing some reconnaissance, scoping out if we have this technology, right? MITRE ATT&CK. Can we correlate some of this to known techniques and procedures, and or can we not? Can we identify how the host, the scope of this, right? How did the intrusion start? What is the scale of this intrusion? These are all frameworks that are important to know, right, and understand. And again, I'm being very basic in general here. But if you want to start off as a security analyst, search up these terms that I've listed. Keep these things in mind. Improve that investigative theory, and you're going to be a pretty nice analyst. Now, if you ask me what I'm doing today, I guess because I've been gone, I've just been doing a lot of forensics. So a lot of the, looking into prefetch, registry keys, jump lists, SRAM, and some static and dynamic malware analysis. And this is what I found that I've been enjoying. I'm not sure where my career is taking me, to be honest. But to give you some insight, that's what I've been working on. Some DFIR, digital forensics, some malware analysis, hoping to get into some security engineering role, or deeper into forensics, or maybe a senior role in the future. But I think if you guys gained something from this video today, it would be these are some things that I should be looking at. And don't stray away from this. Guys, keep it simple. Every video is going to try to take you here and there, but keep it simple. And if I have one, again, certification that I can give you guys, would be the PSAA from the TCM. Here he's going over all of the basics that I talked about. Maybe not all of them, but a good 50% plus of it. And you're left with a project, a lab that you can detail on your resume. You get to fluff up your resume with a lab, the certification, and you get a bunch of skills. So if I can recommend something, then that's what it'd be. So yeah, that's the video. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. I will be doing some more studying, but I hope this was useful.